Last stone is at the bar.
A night in with Mauler and the drinker, getting trashed with the web street thinkers. A cheap night cause I'm feeling kinda thrifty, got a 10-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey. Hop up the cork, have a glass of wine, I'll feel safe, it'll be fine. Trouble walking in a straight line, but pour me a Pinot Noir. It's open bar with our hosts, Mauler and the critical drinker.
All right, that's us. That's our cue.
Oh my god, the guys in the title sequence, that was us. Yeah, they used our names.
Yeah, that's it. We've been introduced, and now we have to do the whole entertainment thing. We have to talk to people a little bit. Hi, everyone. It's Muller and Drinker here. We're back after a bit of a sabbatical because I was away on holiday for a week or so. So we missed the last open bar, and we didn't actually have a chance to do our last orders catch-up stream before I went away. So this is us trying to make up for it now. So yes, it's good to be back, and I'm looking forward to doing open bar 107 shortly. But for now, at least, we still have some super chats from the previous to get through. So I think we should just jump right into it and get started.
Yeah.
Okay. John Gates, and I think this was a reference to the conversation we're having about Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Dr. Doom, where he says, RDJ and the Russos slam their dongs down on the negotiating table. You could not live with your own Mary Sue's. Where did that bring you? Back to white men. I mean, you joke, but like there's perhaps a grain of truth in that. You know, they tried so damn hard to make those Mary Sue's happen, but wow.
The parallel is so crazy with Doctor Who, the bringing back one of the most famous, like, and beloved actors with one of the most famous and beloved creators, and then, well, we saw what happened. So
yeah.
So for different results.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very different MCU that he's returning to now than the one he left, and yeah, I don't have particularly high hopes for this. And you know, we obviously discussed it on the night as well. It just feels like incredibly gimmicky and desperate. AG says, do you think it would have been epic if RDJ made a cameo as Dr. Doom in Deadpool and Wolverine? Well, Mo, you're a big fan of that movie, so what do you reckon? Would that have improved it?
So I don't know if you didn't know, but it was said that he actually did have his cameo. It was going to be in the Happy Hogan scene. It was going to be him instead. Apparently they even recorded several lines of it, but Ryan Reynolds / other people made the decision to not have him in it so that it wouldn't undermine the reveal of him coming back to the MCU.
I see.
Would I have been hyped to see Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr.? Let's just say I would have been as hyped to have seen him alongside all the other cameos.
Well, very diplomatic.
Yeah.
Big Dave K says, hey, Drinker, I hope your day is going well. It is, thank you. Can you pull off a decent Irish accent? I may have another role if you're keen or have the time. So that's the best I can do as far as Irish goes. I'm a bit shit at it, I'm afraid. Snacks says, I recommend Tucker, the man and his dream, about Preston Tucker, who tried to make a new automobile line but was shot down by the big three car brands. Well, okay. Thank you. Pygmy Splints says, Moller would be a perfect VA for Illuminator Zeras. Or, sorry, Illuminor Zeras.
Okay, I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay. Jordan Pendragon says, Idiocracy, the comedy turned documentary. Yeah, it's kind of scary. We're heading towards it. Yeah, if nothing else, like that population imbalance of like all the dummies keep breeding like rabbits, whereas like the intellectuals don't even bother having kids. We're gradually getting dumber as a society. Yeah. Before you know it, we'll be using Mountain Dew on our fields to try and water our crops. Johnny's says, Drinker, finished Firefly yet? Those space pirate reavers make me shiver my tipples. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet. We're on what, episode 5 that we've watched? So
yeah.
We've recorded ourselves watching several episodes now. Not all of them have aired yet because I still have to edit them, but we're releasing them once per week. So there'll be another one shortly. But yeah, very much enjoying it so far. Doing my best to stay away from spoilers and yeah, just taking each episode as it comes. But it's been a great little journey so far.
Woohoo.
Jordan Pendragon. About an hour away from where I work, there was a startup shoe company where Mike Judge's costume designer acquired the footwear for the cast to wear. What is this a reference to? Mike Judge.
Footwear for the Castaway. What film are we talking about?
I don't know. Hold on a second. So, yeah, I'm not sure what that's a reference to, really. Sorry, man. Yeah, I think this is sometimes what happens when we've moved on from the conversation by the time we do the super chats.
To be fair, sometimes our brains completely melt. For example, Gary was saying on about Alien Romulus, about how like the notion of having any particular character come back, like who would it be if you're going to have a reference, especially where it's between Alien and Aliens. And he said he mentioned Rook, and both me and Az like took a pause to be like, huh.
Rook.
And then we were like, who the fuck is Rook? And the conversation carried on, right? And it never got brought up again. And I was thinking about it for a while, and I was like, was there like a Captain Rook or a Private Rook in Aliens, or is that someone from like, Resurrection that I'm missing? Because I'm pretty good with the names.
I mean, because Resurrection is set like 200 years from then, so it can't be that. There was definitely none of the crew in Alien were called Rook. Could it be from Alien 3? Like one of the prisoners might have been called Rook?
I think the answer is funnier. I think, in retrospect, he was in his head, he was thinking of Bishop, and he said Rook.
Fucking hell, Gary Boomer.
Threw me completely because I was like, yeah, Rook, I guess. To be honest with you, it sounds like a believable character name, something Rook, you know?
Well, yeah, sure. Well, all of them are like Knight and stuff. Yeah, King. Like all of these surnames work, I suppose. Yeah. Toby Ornatobe says, with elections right around the corner, I'm reminding of the douche and turd episode from South Park.
Okay. Hell yeah. It's a good one.
Jordan Pendragon also says, she believed they look futuristic enough, but too horribly ugly to be popular in real life. The shoes you see in the film are Crocs. This is again a reference to the
Idiocracy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, right, okay. They have Crocs in that. You don't see them as easily because of the way it's filmed.
Right, okay. Normal Man says, justice for Jabba and Salacious Crumb too, I guess. Well, there we go. Garrett Largy. I want it to be known that I predicted the return of Iron Man as Doctor Doom back in April 2023. I have ChatGPT timestamped item working it out. Okay. Good stuff. Lance, I love these yearly reviews. I never realized all these things happened then. Do you mean like my end of year reviews?
Oh, I think he means when you say like the year of 2021 or 2020.
Oh, yeah,
something like that.
Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, glad people appreciate them. I do love that week when I just totally fucking forgot to do it and like had to scrabble to think of anything, fill the gap.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah. T-Bone. It's a shame though. Actually, I wish I'd thought of it sooner, and we could have done like all the way back to the 1900s, crazy olden times.
Suppose we can do it once we pass episode 200, right?
I mean, we're only really going to get up to episode 124, and then we'll have to skip back.
When you hit episode 201, you could now reset to the year 1901.
We could, I suppose, yeah.
But then I feel really want to.
It'll have run its course by that point, I should think.
Probably, yeah.
T-Bone says, just wanted you guys to know that you've replaced regular celebrities this is the show that I look forward to all week. You all are icons. Well, that's a pretty ringing endorsement. Thank you, my friend.
Neat.
And I don't know, man. Like, I just, joking aside, I think there is something much more interesting about watching a bunch of people, as amateurish as we are, talking about things that we actually care about versus watching some really polished late night host interviewing a celeb and just going for a bunch of scripted questions.
I can't watch any of them anymore. Even the writing on them is fucking abysmal. But then the fake way they interview people of, no hard questions and no real listening either. More just moving around and then getting to promotions of whatever movie or merchandise they have.
Yeah, it's so it's good to see that people have become wise to it now, and more people are just tuning out of it because it's pathetic. Craig the Bad Guy says, cheers to the panel. Favorite character actors who continuously pop up in random movies? And you can't say Tim Curry, apparently. So, favorite character actors?
I mean, there's so many.
Can I say Peter Stormare? The guy who played Lucifer in Constantine. Like, I know he's also occasionally like a bigger actor and stuff in certain things, but like, yeah, he just seems to crop up in just so many random movies. It's great. Like, I loved him in Armageddon when he plays like a crazy Russian astronaut.
Oh, he's great in that. There is a guy I find super interesting. I'm gonna try and find his name real quick. He is always in action films, like almost all of them you could imagine. I noticed him, I think, at first in John Wick, but he's always the lieutenant of the main guy. He'll always be his like best fighter. The you got to take out maybe at the midpoint of the film or something.
Right.
He was in Nobody as well. Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen Nobody.
He was in that one with what's the action film with Charlize Theron? Remember that one? Was it like
The Old Guard? Maybe.
It was kind of a little bit far back, but he was a bad guy. She had like a whole fight sequence within that as well.
Oh, it was Atomic Blonde.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Scott Adkinson, is it?
No, it is Daniel Bernhardt. He is in Matrix Reloaded. He was one of the agents. He's been working for fucking ages, and I only recently noticed he's in like every action film. He's always he's like a really good stunt guy, and he's got a distinct look. He was in Logan as well.
He's got a very chiseled sort of face. He looks a bit like Christian Bale from the American Psycho.
Oh yeah, well, since I noticed him every time he pops up, and then I started to be like, holy fuck, this guy is in everything. I think he's like super reliable as a an actor. He's not only he can do like kickboxing, but he's also got the face for acting and then the experience.
Yeah, I mean, you do get these guys who are like, they're mostly stunt guys, or they come from a stunt background, so they can do like the fight scenes really well, but then they start to transition into acting as well. They got like enough chops to do that, which is a hell of a good combination. And I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. You see guys like that and you're like, it's a shame you've never really got a shot. Like you've never had a sort of starring role that could then potentially launch your career. Because I get the impression, he's just one of those guys who's like a jobbing actor. He just he gets little roles and things, but never really like a main title role.
The thing about him now is every time he turns up in anything new, he's getting some white hair, and I was like, oh no, because he's gonna be less picked probably the last able to move he is. It's, he was in Extraction 2 as well. That's another thing. I was just like, of course he would be in that. Why wouldn't he? Guardians of the Galaxy, Matrix Resurrections.
He's back a long time, but he's like 58 from what the IMDb says. So yeah, he is getting a little bit older then. I suppose.
Birds of Prey, Fast and Furious, Escape Plan, Barry, Lethal Weapon. He's in fucking everything. Sorry, I mean, but he just plays these smaller, always lieutenant roles where it's like, oh, we got to take that guy out.
Another guy like in the action vein that I really like is Frank Grillo, who he played the Hydra guy in Winter Soldier. He's a good actor, and he's absolutely shredded somehow for a guy who's like pushing 60. But he's never really, had a starring vehicle of his own. I think the closest he got was Boss Level, which I actually quite enjoyed. I thought he was good in that.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I like him as Crossbones. He's it's just the nature of the MCU. He probably could have had more time, but didn't end up with it.
I think he kind of did say in an interview he was a bit unhappy with what he got to do in that film. It's like he's quite
in Endgame where he came in just to carry a briefcase or whatever. I know that happened.
Well, yeah, but also like Crossbones is like how he's quite pumped to be coming back, thinking like this character could be a major antagonist, and it's like you're dead within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's the opening act sort of villain, which that's the problem with the MCU films. There's a laundry list of things we didn't get to do with Cap and Iron Man story wise.
Yeah,
and those are the ones that were given the most.
Yep. One day I should make a video actually about this subject, just like character actors who keep showing up who I think deserve more.
Yeah,
just guys who just do the work and show up at each time, but never quite get the recognition. Aaron Tarasu Yamu says, as an artist, I want to make a studio that's more family oriented. These studios like Disney sometimes bring fear about making it happen, but you guys' videos give me hope along with my friends and others. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, man. I hope it works out for you. Master of Puppets says, hey, Law, who do you think has had the worst interviews and or appearances? Rachel Zegler, Brie Larson, or Amanda Stenberg? Looking forward to EFAP 200, long man.
That's a tough selection.
It really is, because they've all had bad ones. I think I'm going to exclude Brie Larson from this pretty much right away, because although, yeah, she definitely didn't help herself, and she was quite unpopular back in the day, it certainly didn't harm the success of Captain Marvel. So, and then by the time you got to the next movie, she'd largely moved away from all that stuff, and I think she kept her head down. It just couldn't save the movie because it was shit, but. It's really between Rachel and Amanda. I think I'm going to have to say Rachel Zegler, because my God, the backlash against her was apocalyptic.
Well, stop for a while now, at least.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's going to be doing the rounds again, isn't she? Because the trailer got released, and apparently that got ratioed into oblivion. And I think she appeared on Twitter to say I'm so excited that the trailer was so well received because it got loads of views. And then in her immediate follow-up post goes, also free Palestine. You couldn't fucking make it up. It's like you were doing so well. Just don't talk about, social issues. Don't talk about politics. Couldn't help yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Normal Man says, if Open Bar was a real bar, what would be on the menu? Everything. I feel like
why not?
Cater to all tastes at the Open Bar. We would even have some Baileys set aside for you.
Yay.
You monster.
No, that makes you a good man.
The Quiet Texan says, Mark, I loved your Marvel Knights Spider-Man. Always appreciated how you wrote Peter and MJ's relationship before one more day ruined it all. I also loved your JLA 27 with Clark making Bruce flinch at the lunch meeting. Well, awesome. I will pass that on to Mark. Derek says, which do you think is cooler between vampires or werewolves? It's got to be vampires, really, hasn't it?
I feel like we may have had this discussion before. I've always felt you can do so much more with vampires. It might be because I haven't seen enough of people doing more with werewolves than having them wolf out and go roar. But I feel like vampires have that and then a whole lot more with what people mess with in their lore and meaning. But werewolves are fucking cool. But yeah, I'd probably pick vampires.
I mean, yeah, werewolves are kind of like a sledgehammer, and I see vampires as more like a scalpel. And yeah, by their nature, they've got that kind of sensuality to them, which people obviously have a lot of fun playing with in fiction. So yeah. Mr. Duff says, Mueller is right about Deadpool 3. Did Disney give Deadpool a vasectomy? The movie looks the same as before, but lacks the ability to leave a lasting impression. Ooh. There you go. Mueller vindication.
That guy has opinions. I certainly don't.
J Smart. Steve is the main reason that I love animals. He'll also probably be the reason I get bit by a rattlesnake at work. Steve was awesome. Yeah, the world lost a good one there.
Mm-hmm.
Archer MVs says, hi panel, did anyone notice that Deadpool kind of dooms his universe at the end? Incursions from Doctor Strange are still a thing, right? Who knows at this point? I don't think they even care about the continuity there. Anyway, the movie was quite the disappointment for me. Cheers. I think Mueller would concur. Normal Man. Do you think that Doctor Doom will be a bait and switch? Like Doctor Doom will be an alternate universe Tony Stark who went evil at some point? Yes, almost certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's going to be a Tony Stark that's been possessed by Doctor Doom. So, the real Tony's still locked away inside there and they have to get him out.
Wouldn't that be great? Drinker to have, he's locked away under mind control, and then Wolverine and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man have to save him, and then they do, and the three of those team up to take on actual Doctor Doom. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Then Blade shows up and goes, "It's Blade in time," and helps them, and it'd be brilliant, just genius. Simon Ho says, "Congrats, trans brother Iman Khalif for beating a girl." Yeah, well done. That was an interesting boxing match. Slack Attack says, will Disney ever let the superhero genre die? I think their heels are too dug in and their wallets too deep to let it expire gracefully. Well, they're a business. They're going to milk it until it dries up completely. It's the way they do things. Hob X says, I bet that RDJ is a Stark variant and the event that sends it bad is the death of Pepper. You're probably exactly right. Sleepy Orca. When they approached him, I wonder if RDJ quoted Thanos, you couldn't live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me. There had to be a big paycheck in there for him because I never got the impression he wanted to come back.
No, yeah, same.
Yeah, this has got to be just help us, Robert. We need you.
Well, they only paid him, a small amount, so maybe he was just come back.
Was it 80 million for like however many movies?
Pocket change, really? Yeah,
that is just obscene. Joel Effler says, wasn't there a comic book story that had Doctor Doom become Iron Man? Yes, it was like the infamous Iron Man or something. I think they called it. Gary could tell me because I'm not a comic book guy. Kang Khan says, hey Drinker, you magnificent bastard. This is my first super chat because today is Switzerland's birthday. Nice. I also find it ironic that Disney needs a straight white men to save the MCU. I mean, they just keep having to come back to it. Disregard says, the firing of activists from Marvel, be them shifting from DEI to Bridge instead of activist employees, they'll have activist policies. Kirsch covers it and knows more about this. It might not be the change that we think it is. I mean, I'll keep an open mind, I suppose. Like when Chris Gore was talking about this, he seemed to be of the opinion that they recognize the problem and are doing what they can to fix it quietly behind the scenes. I imagine all of the people that they did fire were forced to sign pretty hefty non-disparagement clauses because otherwise, yeah, they would be like, I was fired for my politics and that's disgraceful. I want to destroy Marvel now. So, yeah, whatever they did it quietly. The Flash Gets says, finally thought of a movie to recommend, Cannibal the Musical. I highly recommend Matt and Trey's Drunken Commentary. It's the most entertaining bad movie that I've seen. I'm hoping at least Chris has seen it. Nice. Well, Cannibal the Musical.
Probably has. I haven't, though. I probably need to.
Yeah. Mega Spidey Man. Great seeing Mr. Miller on. Favorite film and show, plus why Kick-Ass films, Kingsman films, or Jupiter's Legacy? So, I'm not sure if that's a question for Mark, like whether he liked Kick-Ass or Kingsman or whatnot. For me, it would probably be Kingsman.
So the question between Jupiter, because Jupiter's Descending, what was it? Jupiter's Legacy? What was that?
Jupiter's Legacy, yeah.
I don't think I've seen that. But yeah, Kingsman and Kick-Ass, probably the first Kingsman. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. Peter Bradley. And we can call the variant Phony Stark. That's pretty good. Eddie Brock says, Mark, love your Marvel Knight Spider-Man, Ultimate Fantastic Four, and Ultimate runs. Thoughts on working on MK Spider-Man? Can you please return to Marvel to write? Please. It's been a mess, especially now in Zeb Willis's run. Yeah, no idea if Mark can go back there, but yeah, it'd be nice if you could. OMG puppies. Wokeness ruins shows, by deconstructing positive stories and values. Diversity is a symptom, but not the problem. For example, Dead Boy Detectives is diverse, but it's a story of bravery and loyalty. Sure, I mean, like, we've always maintained there's like having a diverse cast or whatever isn't inherently good or bad. It's just a thing you choose to do, and you can have amazing stories with an extremely diverse cast of people. That's not the issue. It's like whether it works in universe, whether it makes sense, or whether it was just done to fulfill a quota. And yeah, there's a million other things that ultimately cripple a story, and it's usually come down to terrible writing. So yeah, I think you're correct there. That's just a symptom rather than the problem. Stuart Fields. After D&W, Deadpool and Wolverine, Disney clearly knows what fans want, i.e. Snipes as Blade, Gambit, Wolvie costume. So why do they actively avoid these things despite knowing it would make millions of dollars? It can't just be stupidity. I think in terms of Gambit, like, I think they honestly, or he at least wants to do it. Because he'd been lobbying for years to get a Gambit movie off the ground and it hadn't worked. so he'd be up for it. As for Blades, yeah, as we said earlier, I think bring back Wesley Snipes for Blade 4 and just essentially do an old man Blade passing the torch or whatever. I think you'd make bank on that one.
Yeah, putting the right people in the right place really isn't even close to enough, though, right? We need the right writers in the right place as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, just having Wesley Snipes back as Blade would be cool, but like, if the story's shit, then it's not going to help. So yeah, you need everything to work correctly. Spider Monkey. I can't forgive Deadpool and Wolverine for the desecration of Logan's grave. I see so much praise for the movie, but as someone who loved Logan so much, I can't give it a pass. What say you to that?
I agree. One of the things I take way more issue with the film than just that. Though the film does seem to just get away with it by pointing out that that's what it's doing. And I've almost never given a pass for stuff like that. Like I'm self-aware, so I'm allowed to. It's like, no, you're not. Just because you were self-aware enough to say girls get it done is a dumb thing, and then you actually do it, doesn't make you have a pass.
Yeah. Noir says, just got back from the theater. Deadpool and Wolverine is 10 out of 10. Exactly what I wanted from the movie. Man, it's the duality of man right here.
Exactly what there was nothing. Really?
Exactly what he wanted, more. Nick says, the She-Hulk finale and so many aspects of the Acolyte strongly point to writers, executives actively hating their fans. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's at an executive level, but definitely in the case of writers, they are touchy as fuck. And yeah, the She-Hulk one, I don't think people cover that enough, just how, like, antagonistic it was intentionally, like, preemptively hating your fans because you know that they're going to hate the show that you've made. I mean, damn, it's a strategy, that's for sure, but wow. Mohammed Al-Banai says, I'm confused. Doctor Strange's magic circles, do they allow travel across distances, timelines, dimensions, universes, or all of the above? Each Marvel project seems to have a different take on them.
Yeah, they've increased their abilities each film, which is power scaling, and now it's fucked because obviously if sorcerers would be able to get out of the void, it would cause immense trouble for the universe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice when it was just simple. It's like you can travel a distance with this, but it has to be like within your own time, universe, whatever. That one guy says, Blade nailed it. It couldn't be massive because it was rated R, but damn, that movie was epic. Yeah, I mean, I maintain that Blade 2 was better, but yeah, they set the tone and they did it well for their time. Non-Vitae Rex says, it's a shame we never got an R-rated Magneto Nazi Hunter movie. Maybe someday, eh? I mean, the things he could do with those powers, like, yeah, you could have a nice gory film.
Yeah.
Clank Clank I'm a Tank says, I need another Charlie Cox, John Bernthal team up. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, you'll get it. It's going to be in Born Again.
Yeah. Is Bernthal coming back? Is he confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he seems to have a bit of integrity as an actor. He's quite attached to the Punisher character, and I feel like he wouldn't fuck it over just for a payday. I hope.
All right.
I hope. I mean, I'm giving him a bit of credit here. RRTNZ. Hail Drunkler. Great to see Mark. What a legend. Zero chance that Disney does Born Again any justice. Looking forward to your take on Dodgeball. Cheers. Yeah, Dodgeball was great. But yeah, my hopes for Born Again are not high. Clank Clank I'm a Tank says David Tennant was terrifying in Jessica Jones. He was good. I liked his character. They made him actually really interested. It was a great performance by David Tennant, and yeah, I think they played up his powers and skills pretty well, I thought. The parables with like controlling relationships and abusive spouses were a bit on the nose, but you know, okay, I can let it go. Ethan Morganti says, I just watched Civil War, and I don't think that movie gets as much recognition as it deserves with how bad it is. Quite right. Deadpool and Wolverine was good fun, but contains a weak-ass skeletal story structure. So when you say Civil War, I mean, are you talking Captain America Civil War or just actual Civil War? Like,
because if you're talking about Civil War, the movie from, am I forgetting his name? Guy who did Devs and Ex Machina and
yeah,
Annihilation, that guy, yeah. that did just slip by a little bit. It got covered a little and then just disappeared. It was pretty awful.
Yeah. Just a meandering movie. So I don't know. I assume that's the one you're talking about, but yeah, it was shit. Obi-Wan Ravioli says Deadpool was always where they generally kept multiverse bullshit in the comics, as it makes sense with his power scale. What really fucks me off about the MCU at this point is that they kept claiming 616. Also, hi Rags. Hi to you. What does that mean? They keep claiming. So that's universe number 616. So which one is that?
Well, the comic's supposed to be 616, but they claim the MCU itself is 616, while also having it like coexist. So, like the reason Gary and many others hate this is that the implication is it kind of like erases the comics. The comics aren't canon, while the MCU is.
Right. I have nothing to add to that. So, MHB4 says, I'd love to see an Isaiah Bradley 70s set and styled R-rated Rambo-inspired practical effects Captain America movie instead of Brave New World. That could actually be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So that was the first Captain America sort of prototype guy, or the second. I can't remember what it was.
As far as I'm aware, yeah, it was the second. It was done after Captain America, and it went well. I can't remember what the story was.
Well, he seemed like a good guy, and he was obviously still alive. So, yeah, that'd be kind of cool if it's set in the 70s, actually. I like that idea. You maybe get the first stirrings of Hydra. Dave Gannon says, Doom isn't even Avengers-level villain. Even the B-level Avengers would mop the floor with him. Doom is on the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man level. Yeah, I got the impression he's not super powerful as a villain. Like, his real strength is in his intellect.
Wait, Dr. Doom?
I'm wrong. Yeah.
No, he's like super powerful.
He's just a metal guy, isn't he?
No. He's one of his primary powers is technomancy. He has like telekinesis for technology and electric and shit. He's Doctor Doom is arguably one of the most powerful entities in Marvel, as far as I'm aware.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm just basing that on what I've seen in like the movies.
Well, I don't know that anyone feels he's been properly, done yet. But to give you an idea. Mastery of the dark magic, technopathy expert, superhuman strength, durability, flight, force field generation, gauntlet lasers, force blasts, various hidden gadgets, and high-tech weaponry.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds dangerous.
Technomancer.
Technomancy, that's a great word. John Gates says, what's worse than Agatha? Agatha coming out on my birthday, my actual birthday, not just the same week like Boogie would say. At least between that and playing Outlaws, my YouTube career is sure to take off. Drinks more alcohol to withstand the cringe. Good luck with that. And yeah, imagine having that associated with your birthday. I'm sorry for you. Have you considered switching your birthday just to avoid it?
Yeah.
The Master says mainstream multiverse slop began with Bioshock Infinite. Its writing is worse than Loki and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I'll fight Mauler on that, but was wildly praised.
Wait, fight me on what, sorry?
So he reckons that Bioshock Infinite is actually worse than Multiverse of Madness and Loki. In terms of on a writing level.
That's not something I'd want to fight anybody on. I hate all three of those. They suck. So it's like, you go ahead and order them however you want.
Do you think it got a pass because it appealed on the emotional level or something, or the aesthetics of it were really good and just people kind of couldn't see past that?
You talking about Infinite?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they went back to Rapture in that game. That was a nostalgia blast. Everyone was talking about it. It's crazy. And they were saying it's just a genius game, but over time it completely died. Nobody really references it anymore. That's because the mechanics were empty as fuck and the story was nonsense.
Lauren says, when I saw the on-set pictures of Pedro and Vanessa, all I saw was Ricky and Lucy. Yeah. See Pedro everywhere. Flummoxed Buffoon says, best second coming, 2007 Philadelphia Michael Vick after the prison sentence. That man came back and played like a demon and the nation wept. I have no idea what that means, but nice. Low Pro says, Sly coming back in like 2008 to make one of the best Rambo films in the series. Tell me the last half of that movie isn't non-stop awesome. It is pretty good. Yeah, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Rambo. What is it even called? Is it just John Rambo it's called? Like the 2008 one. Yeah,
is it just called Rambo?
It might be actually, yeah. Well, yeah, I remember the final battle scene where he's just got this heavy machine gun and like fires it at someone at point blank range and just obliterates them. It's beautiful. It's one of the nice like little homage to all the carnage of action movies. So yeah, it's good stuff. About the story, says with season 2 just 3 months away, who are your 3 favorite characters in Arcane? We get asked this a lot actually, and it's always like 3.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, Silco's going to be there for both of us.
Yeah. Jinx, probably.
Jinx is pretty high up. Then I was quite fond of Vander for the 3 episodes we got of him.
Yeah, I tend to forget him, actually, because he kind of died off quite early in the show.
Well, maybe he's not dead forever, Drinker.
No one's truly gone, Mauler.
Who can truly say?
But yeah, if I was to exclude him or like maybe pick someone else, it'd probably be Vi, I guess. Like, she's pretty good.
I'm quite enjoying Victor. I'm curious to see where his story was going. And then I like Chase.
Yeah. Victor is like the crippled one, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Who's delving into that magic to try and fix himself up.
Yeah, I like that. I like that stuff. Ms. Maria says, I see fandom as the new religion. Look at the fans and their shrines. Yeah, people need something to believe in, I suppose. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Obi-Wan Can Blow Me says, what are your favorite TV shows and movies of all time? So, okay. We've been down this road a few times, but just off the top of my head, Falling Down, one of my favorite movies. Big Trouble in Little China, just for the comedy factor. Same with Tremors. And TV shows, probably Farscape, Star Trek The Next Generation, and could I say the early seasons of Game of Thrones?
Probably allowed to do that.
Yeah, if we limit it to the first 3 or so, that's fine. Any for you?
So movies, I'll just go with Hot Fuzz, Aliens, Prestige, Unforgiven, Lord of the Rings. You know, lots and lots of things you probably already knew from just listening to us casually. There's a huge selection. A lot of them are things you've probably seen. But there's a couple in there that are like more obscure, I guess. Stuff like The Hunt or even some obscure like horror films from different countries and stuff that can make it high up. But TV shows would be, for me, Breaking Bad, Buffy and Angel, something, probably one of, I'd pick one of Mike Flanagan's shows, just so something more modern, and then something much further back. Well, I already chosen an older one, at least for my generation, so I should probably do it.
I think that covers it quite neatly, yeah. You've given them plenty to chew on. Hugo Joss Catton says, Mauler and panel, if you were to make a boogie movie starring Nick Frost, who would direct? I'd say David Fincher or Nicholas Winding Refn Bronson style. I would honestly want Robert Eggers to direct it in the style of The Lighthouse. That'd be incredible.
I was actually going the other direction. I was like, get Tommy Wiseau to direct it, just to make it so incompetent. It would be so funny.
Eck says, Coatbridge in the house, Mr. Miller. Yeah, thank you, man. Skeleton Bro says, a question for the panel. What are some movies or shows that are worth buying as hard copies rather than deciding to pay for streaming services? I'm beginning to build my collection and I need advice. So essentially any movie that's got like a warning on like the streaming service saying may contain outdated themes or representations of characters or whatever, because you can bet your arse they will eventually edit them. They'll edit that stuff out. So any movie essentially from the 80s and 90s, you probably want to try and pick up if you're partial to it. So that would be my advice.
Grab the ones that you're most passionate about if they're available. I mean, everyone's got their different needs for what collectors things they want. If you're asking it more from a selection of like what are the best ones, like the best transfers and stuff, I'm less knowledgeable on that. But there's got to be websites you can go to find that stuff out, probably.
Just on a slightly unrelated note, but like, did you hear James Cameron's thoughts on like the 4K upscaling of, I think it was True Lies and Aliens, where people were complaining about how they used AI for it, and obviously it looks fucking weird and like uncanny. And he's like, "Oh, you bunch of like basement dwelling morons! Like, get a life. Go talk about something else." It's like you're the fucking pioneer of this stuff. Like the guy who spends 10 years making a single movie, obsessing over every single aspect of cinematography, and you're pissed off at other people for calling you out on it.
I don't understand that at all. There is several shots in the Aliens 4K where Vasquez's face looks like a demon because of the weird AI on it. I don't know how James Cameron would find that acceptable. It feels so weird.
Don't worry, it's probably because he's too busy working on his new Terminator
No.
project. Fucking no, don't do it, Jim. You're not going to save this one. Just leave it. Right, box office brawler. Hello, you massives. You have to go out on a date with either Osha or May on a Friday night. Who do you choose and why? Let your wildest fantasies flourish. I mean, they're both going to be played by Amanda Stenberg, so
they both might try and kill me.
Yeah, I think May probably because Osha ends up genuinely evil and just fucking force chokes Saul into oblivion. So might pick May. I just wouldn't let her near any naked flames. Because you know my house is made of bricks and they're highly flammable, clearly. So we got to watch ourselves. Don Max, is there any movie that you would want to get a remake, assuming it was put in the right hands, aside from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? A remake. We get asked this periodically, and I feel like everything has been remade at this point.
Yeah,
I don't know what's left. So,
and like something I want remade, it would probably be something that we consider to have a good premise, but isn't very great.
Yeah, totally. That's my criteria really for any remake. I just can't think of much off the top of my head. Jason B says, Drinker, which hopefully unlikely season 2 do you think would cause more irreparable harm to both your brain and liver? Echo or the Acolyte? Probably the Acolyte, I think. Echo's just generally shit, but Acolyte is like offensively shit. Dineska, never forget how little Godzilla -1 cost. Oh, I don't. I use it as my benchmark now for how much movies should cost. Flummox Buffoon, can Wolverine and Dune 2 popcorn buckets kiss? There's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
And see if you can throw in the Alien Romulus one as well, because it's got like a facehugger attached to it as well. Randy Jackknife McClellan. Kathleen Kennedy is the Hillary Rodham Clinton of her field. Agree or disagree? Strongly agree, yeah. She's got leverage over someone. Your name is an adverb says, wouldn't the John Wick series fall into that category of a small budget film initially that led to bigger films? That also led to nobody getting made. I don't know the exact context when we were talking about this, but yeah, the budgets definitely went up and up with John Wick. Arguably, they lost a lot of the actual quality along the way, but yeah, it did spawn nobody as well, which was good, at least. Shaker Silver, Mahler's right. The MCU could be interconnected with good movies standing alone to be consumed at one's discretion. Background material not needed to understand a film, but helps to enrich it. That's a nice way to do things. Finbar White says, hey, Drinker, I remember growing up when disaster movies were massive and then people moved on. Yeah, basically Roland Emmerich pretty much bulldozed the genre into extinction, but it was fun while it lasted. I like a good disaster movie. X Callister says, please look up who helped to write The Legend of Zorro, since you all talked about how shit it is. There's a familiar name that you'll have seen on the writing team.
It's like Goya or something like that. I can't remember because I know that we brought it up before, actually. I'm sure we looked into it and we were like, oh.
So, story by Alex Kurtzman.
There you go.
Fuck. There you go. Nate says, just want to send my thanks to Mr. Millar. When I started buying comics as a kid, Civil War intrigued my dad so much that we kept coming back to the store. It helped to create a great childhood memory. Oh, that's nice. I like that, man. Clank Clank, I'm a Tank says, when do we get a Brightburn sequel? Probably never, I suspect.
I didn't like Brightburn. I thought it was lame. Like it felt. Did you see it?
Is that the kid? He's got superpowers and he's evil.
Yeah, it felt like it didn't get past its premise. It was like, what if Superman grew up and he didn't have a good childhood and he was evil? It's like, okay, but you didn't do anything else.
Yeah. Well, I guess so. Cop and Rob says, Drinker, Mauler, and guests. Has anyone seen Longlegs yet? Also, Victor from Still Game was in Deadpool and Wolverine, the barman that serves the main Wolverine. Yeah, I did. It's funny, Mark mentioned it, and I didn't recognize him until I thought about it again. And yeah, he's got like a big bushy beard now, which is probably why I didn't recognize him. But yeah, there he was. Haven't seen Longlegs myself, so
neither have I. I intend to, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's good. The trailer looked interesting, but Jay Fraser, hail gents. More, you said that Days of Future Past is your favorite X-Men film. Have you seen the Rogue cut, an alternate version that's 17 minutes longer?
I could have sworn I didn't say it was my favorite. It would be between that one, X-Men 2, and I'm trying to think because I suppose it would be potentially, because it's funny. I always remember thinking it comes from, it's like one from each era. So of the original trilogy, it's X-Men 2. Of the reboot people, it's Days of Future Past, and then of the Wolverine trilogy, I think it probably would be Logan. So it's going to be a fight between those three. But which one wins? Honestly, probably X-Men 2, if I were forced to answer that. But ultimately, I do like all three of those for different reasons. What was the other question?
Yeah, have you seen the Rogue cut? So it's a longer version.
Yes, that's where Rogue has to be brought in because Kitty Pryde's dying, I think, from the cut Wolverine gives her, and so she has to take her power and carry on for her.
Is it better, would you say?
I don't remember thinking it was significantly better. It's the film itself. That's hard to say. I kind of need to watch them back to back to be able to tell you if I think that there's a significant improvement. It was kind of cool though, just seeing Rogue again.
Oh, that's good.
She's there to they actually need her power set, and then it's relevant. I think she's captured by the Sentinels or something. I remember being strange.
Yeah. Bob here says Jurassic World 4 is directed by Gareth Edwards with the original Jurassic Park writer. I don't give a shit, but it's weird that we might get a good Jurassic World movie. Maybe. I mean, it's kind of weird that he would sign on for something like that, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe expect something a little bit smarter in that case. Maybe. I mean, it's a pretty low bar with the Jurassic World movies, so it's just the third one is so fucking terrible. Yeah, Jay Fraser says Star Trek Section 31 features Casey Rowe as Rachel Garrett, the future captain of the USS Enterprise C from the Next Generation's Yesterday's Enterprise. Fuck this shit. Yeah, I concur. Shaker Silver, I disagree that old franchises have to fade out. They're not shackles around creators, they're crutches for their inability to create good original works. Well, I mean, they can be both, really. You might use it as a crutch, but then it ultimately limits what you can do, so... Yeah.
Although, it's not even... They don't have to fade out. A lot of the time, like a Ghostbusters, that doesn't need to fade out. It can just leave happily in terms of new iterations. But I actually think what they're doing with it is making it fade out.
Well, yeah, I mean, if, you make shit stuff, I suppose people are going to hate it and it'll go. But I don't know, man. I would like to see more new things get made. I know it's a bit of a trite request at this point, but... How many times are we going to reheat these fucking franchises from the 80s and the 90s? It's just we got to move on from this at some point and create new stuff. John Oakletree says, I've got a question for you. What's heavier, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers? Well,
obviously it's the steel because feathers are lighter than steel.
Exactly, yeah, and the feathers are nicer. So there you go. I'd rather get hit by the feathers, to be fair.
Yeah.
Marius Tomaset Shanky says, hello, gents. Follow up to my super chat on Open Bar 104. I'm developing a TV show set in post-World War II, following the person overseeing the Berlin blockade, Korea, and to name a few. Wish you could join me as writers. Well, I mean, I'd love to help out my friend, but I'm afraid I'm a little bit swamped with my own projects at the moment. But thank you very much for the offer, and I hope it works out for you. Shadix Thunder says, when it comes to politics, most of you guys aren't Americans, so for people who disagree with you, can't use that argument. Content can just be bad. Indeed it can. Graham says, thoughts on swapping RDJ for Andrew Tate? I would love to see Andrew Tate in the MCU. I think there's a real place for him there. Ross Samuel says, do you think 2026 Shrek reboot will be crap? Probably. Are they doing another one?
I thought it was a sequel.
It says reboot here, but maybe it means sequel.
Maybe. Well, who knows what we're dealing with? Could be bad, could be good. Let's hope.
Yeah. John Smith, why is Marvel doing course correction but not Star Wars? Well, different studios, I suppose, different leadership.
Different values, different investments, different idea of the future, and different assessment of results, I guess.
Mo Zislak says, see Montgomery Burns. Thank you. Okay. That was for $50, so appreciate it. Ace Archer says, Dear Drinker, have you seen the TV series MASH? If you need a laugh as well as thought-provoking drama, you can't do much better. It has Ace's stamp of approval. Yeah, so it was a little bit before my time, I'm afraid, so never watched it all the way through. I think I watched the movie and then the final episode just because I was curious, but yeah, that final episode's good, man. KFC Chicken Burger. Don't introduce Boogie to Mark Miller. He's going to eventually learn about the tipples. Leave him alone. Yeah, he's probably done that already. Bushin Ryu Cat says, best villain actor, Rutger Hauer, especially in Hitchhiker. I think you mean the Hitcher. But yeah, that was a nice sinister villain. And yeah, Roy Batty's going to take some beating. Like,
dude, incredible. That was one of the first times when I was a much more of a youngin', where my dad showed me the Hitcher, and I was like, this is great. And then he said, actually, recently, they made a new one where Sean Bean is the Hitcher, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I remember watching it being like, why did they do it again but worse?
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
And that became a running theme these days.
Mm-hmm.
Tripticon says, Roy Batty, Tears in the Rain. That is all. Good night. Yeah, that was a good speech. OMG Puppies, Babylon 5 villains were the Shadows and the good Vorons. Then it revealed that they were both custodians of life with radically different philosophies. Survival of the fittest versus altruism. Yeah, good writing in Babylon 5. Harriman says, David Xanatos from Gargoyles is the best villain. 9 times out of 10, if he lost, he still won, and the other times he'd learned something. He was also affably evil and unflappable. That's a good combination.
Can't flap.
Finbar White says, hey, Drinker, my top 5 villains, Gary Oldman in Leon, Darth Vader, Moriarty in Sherlock, and any Alan Rickman villain, and Joker from the Batman.
Any Alan Rickman Joker. I was like, wait, whoa, what?
That I'd pay to see. And Albert Nader Retro says, nothing's ruined for me because I stopped watching the MCU after Endgame, and that's 2 Spider-Man follow-ups. Well, I'd say that was a smart move on your part. You've missed a lot of heartache and probably saved yourself a ton of money as well, so good on you. But that right there was the last of the Super Chats, so I'm sorry it took us a while to get through to this, but we managed to answer them all. So thank you very much for sending them to us. And I guess the next time you catch us will be on the next open bar, which won't be long now, actually, because it's tomorrow as of the time of recording this. So appreciate it. And we will catch you again next time. So go away now.
Bye.